Today we've gathered to share our thoughts and memories of Alexx as we prepared him to lay him to rest in his final peace. When I was reading about eulogies, they talk about concentric circles, and I pictured in my head when you drop a pebble into water and how it moves out. I think today your witness bears that Alexx was a rock. He was an absolute rock, and his circles moved out really far. He was a cherished son and stepson. He was a doting brother to 4 sisters, Carrie, Olivia, Madeline, and Abigail. He was a grandson actively involved with each grandparent, Dennis, Linda, Ed, Faye, Kathy. I know that there are some extended grandparents I'm missing, and I apologize. He was a loyal friend until the end. You've heard from his friends, and I'll share some other thoughts here in a minute. Alexx was a member of 2 congregations, the Salvation Army here in Harborside, who you've heard from today as well. I have a thought from Joseph Campbell. So anyone who knows me knows that I have been a student of philosophy and religion, and Joseph Campbell is one of my favorite philosophers of all times. He was a student of religion and had an uncanny insight into human nature. He wrote, "Artists provide contemporary metaphors that allow us to realize the transcendent, infinite, and abundant nature of being as it is." Alexx was an artist, and his life spoke to the nature of being. So over the last week, I've been gathering the stories and memories shared by Alexx's family and friends. I thought I would pass along some of these funny and inspirational thoughts so we can remember Alexx with a poignant smile. My dad and Carrie were recently talking over dinner about a story of when Alexx carved his name into the back of a bedroom door at my dad's house. Just got right in there and carved it in. He liked to tag pretty young, right? So when confronted by my father about why he carved his name in the back of the door, he was adamant that it wasn't him. It wasn't me. Like, it's your name. Ironically, Alexx had a thing about tagging not too long ago, and he put his name on that out there under bridges and stuff too. Never got the point, don't put your name on your graffiti. But, that was one of Alexx's things, and we'll see his tag here on his pulpit he made. When I got married to Chris, Alexx's stepdad, I asked each child to write a note to read at the wedding. It was a note that they were going to read to Chris. Alexx's note made me cry then and now. I had a hard time with this one the other night. Alexx wrote, "Dear Daddy, I want you to know that you're welcome to my family, and so are your mom and dad. But you have to do some things in return. You have to take care of my family, but especially my mom. Can you do that for me, Dad? I'm so glad that you're married to my mom, and I'm glad that you are my stepdad. Love, Alexx." This just speaks to the soul of Alexx, and everyone knows he's a mama's boy also. As I mentioned, Alexx is loyal to his family and friends, knew no bounds. He was always reaching out to be there for each person. He actively worked to stay in touch with everyone and to help friends who had hit rough spots or just needed a ride. He considered both Nick and Stephen, both of whom spoke here earlier, to be his brothers, and also Daniel, who is here. I can't see you guys for the lights, but Daniel's here somewhere as well, and he also called Daniel his brother. He would introduce them, his brothers. His friend Daryl also considered Alexx a brother. Listen to a few words that his friends have said over the last few days. Anna, who is here, wrote, "She was a friend and a compatriot in art. I have many pictures in Alexx's stuff of artwork that him and Anna did together, that Anna did. She said, I'll always have good memories of him because he was such a good friend to me and to everyone he knew. I didn't know one person who didn't think he was an awesome guy." Jess Shambaugh, I believe Jess is here as well. I saw her earlier. She shared, "I still can't believe it. Just yesterday I was giving you rides to and from school. I watched you grow up, bud. For those of you who didn't know Alexx, he had the most gentle and forgiving soul in this world." Alexx was also quite witty and clever. He was bold and outspoken. We can go ahead and say it. He was a smartass. We all knew that. We all were victims of it at some point, right? He called me loopy. He had fun things that he liked to say. Ask him if he wanted cake. Had anyone made that mistake? Yeah, there's a few of us. He hated cake. He detested it. He said he didn't understand it. I believe that's almost a quote. And do not get him started on cupcakes. He considered them completely a waste of time. They weren't even big. They were little cakes. Hated cakes. So, yeah. He was also very tongue-in-cheek in many of his writings and arts and in his art projects. And we've listed on the back his bio, and it has links to the daily devotional blog he was writing. He wrote his own personal testimony. So when we look at some of those, he had one. I should have made this font much bigger. Someone told me that earlier. So in his writing, his wit and his humor were also quite apparent. He had, in the last few years in particular, become a prolific writer. As we've mentioned, he wrote a book. And recently, we've really seen a maturity and perspective that Alexx was gaining in his life. His writing is honest and touching. I think we've also talked about his daily devotional text that many of us got twice daily, in the morning and in the evening. He blogged these as well. Again, the link is in the bio. I want to point out his post from June 21st of this year, entitled "Meek with the Absence of Weak." In this post, he spoke of putting out the fire with water and drying up the flood with flames. Alexx loved his tattoos, his body art, and he recently added a new tattoo. It is a very large dove descending, and surrounding the dove are flames on one side and fire on the other, and it said, "Come hell or high water." He talked about the peace of God, and that the peace of God was going to be there no matter how high the flames got, no matter how rough the water got. This was part of his personal testimony. He was so proud of this piece of work that a friend of ours, Mike, had done for him. He poignantly described this as his affirmation that his faith in God brought peace through all his trials. So on Thursday, I got to kiss my son goodbye before they took him out, and he looked so peaceful. He would want each one of us to remember his smiles and his solid faith in God, because Alexx is at peace with his Father in heaven. Alexx has gone home now. Harborside is going to share another song with us.